Hello, Level 8 students. This video is to review the topic of logical fallacies, which is in some of the Unit 10 lessons of the Future Advanced book. What are logical fallacies? Logical fallacies are bad arguments or weak arguments. They are arguments that use bad reasoning and unsound logic. Logical fallacies don't use evidence, or they might misuse evidence. That means use evidence in a bad or wrong way. Logical fallacies often sound good, but they are mistaken beliefs or wrong information. So in the Future Advanced book on page 183, there is a table that explains what logical fallacies are, and it gives three types. There are more, but we're just going to focus on these three: bandwagon, either or, and slippery slope. This table has a description of each type, and it gives an example. So you can look at that yourself in your book. We're going to look at some examples from real life on this video. Why is it important to know about logical fallacies? One reason is you want to avoid using logical fallacies yourself so that you can make strong arguments, whether that's for school, if you're writing an essay, or a conversation at work where you're trying to persuade your coworkers or your boss about something. You want to give strong arguments. We also want to protect ourselves from logical fallacies because they could lead to bad information or bad decisions. So logical fallacies are everywhere. They could be in social media posts. They're commonly used by politicians to confuse or manipulate or lie to the public. They're also common in other types of media, like in the news, in advertising, and we'll look at some of those examples right now. So the first type of fallacy we're going to learn about is the bandwagon fallacy. This fallacy is an argument that says something is true because other people believe it. But just because some people believe something, that doesn't mean the information is correct or true. So here's an example from an advertisement for a cosmetic product. So this advertisement says that this product is America's favorite mascara. And it says that one of these is sold every 1.7 seconds. So this advertisement is using the bandwagon fallacy to persuade people to buy this mascara. It's saying other people believe this is a good product, so you should too. This is very common. Many advertisements will use the bandwagon fallacy to try to make you buy something. But remember, just because many people buy a product, that doesn't mean it's the right product for you to buy. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not good. But if it is good, it's not because other people are buying it. Here's another example. President Trump often uses the bandwagon fallacy to confuse the public or to confuse voters. He will frequently use this phrase, many people are saying, or everyone thinks, everyone's talking about. And then what he says next could be a lie, or it could be false information or confusing information. So here's an example of something he tweeted during the 2016 election. And there's not evidence to support what he's saying. He's using the bandwagon fallacy to make you believe that this is true. Many people are saying, but actually there's no evidence that this is a fact. It's not true. Another type of fallacy is the either-or fallacy. This argument says there are only two options, but actually, in many situations, there are lots of possible options. Let's look at this example. So this is on a church sign. It says, America, love or leave it. So it's providing two choices. You can love America or you can leave America. When people criticize the United States, they're often told by other people, if you don't like it here, you can leave. But this is an either-or fallacy. This is a false choice. There are many possible options. You can love the United States and you can criticize it. You can demand it should be better. It should change. And this phrase in particular also has a racist history of trying to suppress the opinions of African Americans and immigrants who argue the United States should be more equal, more free, and more just for everybody. So this is an either-or fallacy. You have more options. You don't have to love America or leave America. You could do many different things in relationship to America. Here's another political example of the either-or fallacy. This one's about the coronavirus. President Trump said, we have to reopen the economy during the COVID-19 pandemic, or people will commit suicide. And he made the argument that we have to reopen all of the businesses in the United States, or more people will kill themselves. And the number of suicides is going to be higher than the number of deaths from the coronavirus. So this is an either-or fallacy. These are not the only two options. So reopen the economy or have suicide. That's not, there are many, many other options. We could reopen some of the economy. We could reopen the economy in some states that don't have very many coronavirus cases. We could provide more financial and economic support to people who are suffering. We could have more mental health services to lower the numbers of suicides, right? There are many, many possible options, but Trump just gave us two. Do this or you'll have this. So this is a fallacy, and in addition, the information is not correct. We have had more than 200,000 people in this country die from COVID-19, and that is a much larger number than the rate of suicide. So the president is using this logical fallacy to confuse the public and give bad information to the public. The final type of logical fallacy we're going to look at is called slippery slope. This type of argument says if you do one small thing, you're going to cause a chain of events. More things will happen, and it will lead to a very terrible outcome. But actually, there is no connection between the small thing happening and the terrible outcome. So here's an example from social media. This is a social media post that's saying if children wear masks, they will get kidnapped and nobody will recognize their face or see that they need help. And so they think that these children could be stolen from their families because they're wearing masks. But this is not true. There is no connection between wearing a mask and getting kidnapped or stolen from your family. So this is an example of the slippery slope fallacy, and it is fake news that I found on social media. Here's another political example of the slippery slope fallacy. In 2018, there was a terrible school shooting in Florida. And after the school shooting, Donald Trump decided to have a meeting about violent video games. So he made the argument that if one small thing happens, if children play video games, a chain of events will occur. If they play video games, they're going to see violence on their video games, and then they're going to become violent. They're going to buy guns, and they're going to go to schools, and they're going to shoot in the schools. But actually, there is no connection. There is a lot of research about this topic, and there is no evidence that playing video games causes gun violence in schools. And the president is using this logical fallacy to blame video games when actually the cause of the problem could be that we don't have gun control or gun regulation in this country. So the logical fallacy is being used to determine bad policy. So watch out for logical fallacies. You might see examples in your real life. And if you continue your Unit 10 lessons, you'll be able to practice this skill of recognizing and categorizing logical fallacies.